after the release of Stat Canada's grain stocks report. The March canola contract climbs $4.20 at $654.40 per ton, and the May contract adds $4.80 at $662.20 per ton. StatCan says total on-farm and commercial canola stocks as of December 31st are estimated at 11.38 million tons, down from the 14.09 million a year ago. StatCan says the reduction in canola stocks is due to increased exports and domestic use. The Canadian Grain Commission reports year-to-date canola exports as of February 2nd reached 5.48 million tons, about double from a year ago. Domestic use of 5.94 million tons is 10.6% ahead of those this time last year. Canola is also reaping support from gains in Chicago soy oil and Malaysian palm oil, but losses in Chicago soybeans and soy meal, along with those in European rapeseed, are tempering the increases. Upticks in crude oil are lending support to the vegetable oils. The Canadian dollar is higher on Friday morning, with the loonie at 69.96 US cents compared to Tuesday's close of 69.82. Ahead of the U.S. Department of Agriculture's supply and demand report on Tuesday, the average trade guess pegs domestic soybean ending stocks at 374 million bushels, slightly lower from January. Corn ending stocks are to slip to 1.53 billion bushels, and wheat ending stocks are to inch up to 799 million bushels. The trade also sees the USDA trimming its call in Argentina soybean production to 50.49 million tons and its corn to 49.5 million tons. Brazil's soybean output is expected to bump up to 169.64 million tons and its corn to slip to 126.74 million. Rounding off prices at the Chicago Board of Trade, soybean futures are lower on Friday morning. The March contract gives up 6 cents at $10.54 per bushel. March soy oil tacks on about 0.2 cents at 45.61 cents per pound. March soy meal gives up $3.70 at $302.70 per short ton. Also in Chicago, March corn drops 5 cents at $4.90.5 per bushel. March oats fall 10.5 cents at $3.53.5. The U.S. wheat complex is down as well, with Chicago March giving up 4 cents at $5.84. Kansas City March peels back 2.5 cents at $6.05, and Minneapolis March is down 3 cents at $6.25. That's a look at the ICE futures and the Chicago markets for Friday morning, February 7th. For MarketsFarm.com in Winnipeg, I'm Glenn Halleck. This is the MarketsFarm.com Morning Show broadcast network.
For over 35 years, they've been your go-to for quality farm and snow removal equipment, and they should also be your go-to for parts. At Butler Farm Equipment, they have a fully stocked parts department with a wide selection of batteries, oil, pins, bushings, antifreeze, bearings, belts, pulleys, sprockets, and more. Plus specific OEM parts from New Holland, Schulte, Toro, and Gravely. Butler Farm Equipment. Over 35 years of great service in the Peace region. Visit butlerfarmequipment.ca.
The opinions expressed on this show do not represent those of the station. If you've missed any of the shows, you can follow the podcast at Energeticcity.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Here's your hosts, Dub Craig and Steve Berard.
Welcome to This Week in the Peace. Later, we'll be catching up with Fort St. John Senior Flyers head coach Aaron Nystrom to review the season and look ahead to the playoffs. The Flyers face the first-place Dawson Creek Canucks in the first round starting Monday.
That's right. Now, with Jordan Kealy now serving as the MLA for Peace River North, the Peace River Regional District is holding a by-election for Area B Director to replace Kealy. Now, quick note, we did have Madeleine Lehmann come in yesterday to do an interview with very similar questions that we're about to ask Reid Graham. Unfortunately, due to a technical issue, we are unable to air that interview. From that interview, though, we'll be able to build a story at Energeticcity.ca. And we will invite Madeleine to come back as soon as it's convenient for her to talk to her once again. But for today, we're chatting with Area B current Area B alternate director and candidate to replace Mr. Kealy, Reid Graham. Reid, welcome to the show.
Thanks. First time being here. So
thank you very much for making time for us. we'll take the kind of first part of this to talk a bit about you and your history kind of in the region. I assume you live in Area B. Tell us a bit about kind of how long you've been here and what you're about.
Well, I moved here back in around 1991 as a young guy, just looking for work, like I think a lot of people have, and ended up loving it here. And I've spent my entire majority of my life here, working in the industry.
Where'd you come from, if you don't mind?
I moved from central Saskatchewan. I grew up on my mother and father's grain farm, and but as a young guy, I had to break out on my own and get away from that, right?
So, gotcha. Is that what you then farming is kind of your business, or?
Well, I've worked in the oil and gas industry for about 35 years as a mechanic and general contractor type stuff, and now I'm worked my way up, and I'm a regional manager for Enerflex in town here.
I see. Gotcha. Well, tell us a bit about why you decided to run for Area B director. I mean, again, you're currently the alternate, so because Mr. Kealy has vacated, because he's the MLA now, you're kind of filling the role until, until the election was called, essentially. But tell us a bit about why you decided, I want to be this role now and not just the alternate.
Right. Well, a lot of it stems from continuity, I think, in this role. I believe that, and every time there's a new person takes the chair, it slows down productivity, history, knowledge of past and current items on your agenda. Let's put it that way.
And even just doing the job, knowing how to do it, I suppose.
Exactly. It's been a real learning curve. I got the benefit of being Jordan's alternate for the past year. So I've been exposed to lots of the different committees and programs that the PRRD works on.
Yeah, so. I see. Okay. Tell me a bit about even just becoming the alternate, because we were discussing this earlier. When Jordan first got elected, Karen, who used to be the Area B director and said she was retiring, sort of mentored him in the role for a bit to kind of get him started. And then you took over. How did that work out? Were you two already acquainted? And Jordan said, I think you'd be great at this?
That's exactly it. Jordan approached me, and knowing my history in the region and being a farmer in the area, he basically asked if I would be interested in taking on this role. And I've never done anything like this. Like, I'm not a career politician by any means or any of that. I'm just working farm in the area, and I always hear people talk about they don't get a voice, people don't hear them, and I feel the same way. And sometimes, it's easy to complain about issues, but it was an opportunity for me to kind of give back to the area I live and work in. So
I see.
It was a good opportunity, just to learn how it works and maybe have a voice in, telling government how we feel in this region, because we're one of the most remote areas, and I don't think we get the proper representation from Victoria that we should.
I mean, we kind of covered this already, but you say you've got a background in oil and gas. You were raised on a farm in kind of Saskatchewan. Yep. What do you think about that and sort of the other things you do, in your job as management at Enerflex, make you a good candidate for this role, to continue in this role, I suppose?
Right. So in about 2005, me and my family purchased, we live out in the Cecil Lake area and have our own farm. We have oil and gas activity on our farm. So I'm know firsthand what some of those challenges are, with dealing with industry, dealing with farming as well. Because I believe farming is still one of our most important things we can do in a province, especially now more than ever with what's going on south of the border. I think, it's important to have representation from somebody that works and lives in Area B, because potentially anyone can apply for this position. But historically, not many people do put their voice forward for this role. And I thought long and hard about it, to be honest with you. But, again, just having the continuity in the role, I sit on so many boards and committees right now, and there's just so much information that I've had to study and, at night, and lots of reading to get up to speed on it all. But,
Absolutely. I think we're going to talk about Northern Health specifically, but I think this kind of speaks to the larger role, which is you're kind of an advocate is kind of your biggest role, because a lot of it is the federal government, or in our case, even the provincial government says this. We have qualms with that. We need to push back. We can help in that sort of institutional pushback.
Correct.
So tell me a bit about, for example, working with Northern Health. I mean, this has been an ongoing thing with the PRRD to get more information from Northern Health in a timely manner about, emergency room closures, whatever happens to be going on. Rather than hearing it from a resident, why isn't the PRRD hearing it first and then able to tell the residents, for example? What do you think is your approach, or what would you maybe change even, or try to advocate for in terms of working with that organization to advocate for their communicating better in general to the residents of Area B?
Right. So currently I sit on the Regional Hospital District Board. I also sit on the Healthcare Scholarship Committee. We request that they, have people also attend and provide updates. We do get the occasional update third party from the city of Fort St. John, but communication is one of the biggest things always.
Yeah.
Like to tell residents and ahead of time, not have them show up at the emergency room door and find it locked. Correct? You know what I mean? So previously we've had meetings with Northern Health. We've had Kendra Kiss in. She's a senior operations officer. And we've worked with Northern Light College on scholarships and stuff to get our residents or get our young people moving into that industry type thing. So,
rather than having to hire from outside.
Yeah, let's promote from within and get our own, our own high school students interested in what's there to, what we offer. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess my final message then, I mean, we've got, I believe advance voting opens as early as next week, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Voting day is
12th.
still 2 weeks out, the official voting day. But anyway, do you have a message you just want to share with voters maybe listening now to say, this is why I think I'm the best person for this job?
Well, my biggest message, whether or not I'm the best person, what people determine, but I think one of the biggest things is people need to get out and vote. I hear too often that we didn't choose that candidate or I didn't want that candidate. But a lot of times, I believe in the last election, I think for Area B, there was only 400 voters. And Area B is one of the biggest areas in the province that we represent.
Yeah.
And I just encourage people, whoever you choose, get out and, have your say.
Yeah.
Right.
Make sure you cast a vote.
Yeah. And as for me, again, I think, it's just I have the experience in the role. I've had a lot of residents reach out to me and want to keep the same representation in place because, again, I think every time you start over with a new director, it really slows down everything. And that, right down to, grant applications and scholarships and that sort of stuff. I've been working heavily lately on rural water situations. That's a real challenge in our area. So history, I sit on the Airport Society. I've been working with the leisure pool. I'm on the steering committee for the new pool, things like that. And there's just so much to absorb to make informed decisions. So.
I see. All right. Well, Reid, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to come see us today. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. That's Reid Graham, Area B candidate in the upcoming by-election for the PRRD Area B. We'll be right back with Fort St. John Senior Flyers head coach Eric Nystrom right after this on This Week of the Peace.
Nominate a bold woman today. Hi, I'm Samantha Warren, owner of Bold Promotions, and we're proud to sponsor Bold Women, a monthly program highlighting women in the community. Each month, we'll select a nominee to be celebrated, uplifted, and receive up to $100 in Bold swag, plus also be featured in the Energetic City article. Nominate Bold Women in your life at moosefm.ca/boldwomen.
Your sister, your friend, your coworker, your mother.
We're strongest when we cheer each other on.
Here at Moose FM, we love local businesses, local music, local news, and we're 100.1% Fort St. John.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
But we couldn't be anything without you. Thanks to you, we were voted the best radio station in Fort St. John again. And our very own morning show host, Warren Dub Craig, was voted best on-air personality. But we couldn't be anything without you. Well, technically we have more than 16,000 people listening in every week. So we couldn't do it without you, and most importantly, you. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for the awards. And thanks for being a part of Moose FM. Oh, and if you're not, you should be. Listen in and join our contests through the Moose FM app. Or call us to start advertising your business at 250-787-7100.
Get ready because the Fort St. John Métis Society's weekly bingo is back this Tuesday at 7 p.m. It will be a big bingo this week. We will be playing 4 games in total, the Anyone line, the X, big picture frame, and a blackout jackpot of $1,500. Grab your blue cards for just $5 at the Fort St. John Métis Society office, the Canadian Grind, and more locations at moosefm.ca/bingo. Don't miss out. Tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. at moosefm.ca/bingo.
BC Gaming License 153829. 19 plus only. Know your limit. Play within it.
Keep the outside out. Hi, it's Coin from Alpine Glass. Now's the time to take advantage of our winter booking promotion, where you can save big on all Geldwin windows and doors. It's your opportunity to save big in the winter and get your new windows and doors installed in the spring. Ensure your home stays warm all next winter long with Alpine Glass's Geldwin Winter Sales Event. Visit our showroom today at 9712 108th Street or give us a call at 250-785-6409.
You deserve a coffee break. But so does your favorite local business. The Red Barn Cafe and Catering wants to provide a weekly coffee break to local businesses throughout the North Peace. But we need to know where to go before we can drop off the coffee and snacks. Visit moosefm.ca/coffee break and nominate your favorite local business. Is it a dentist's office, bookkeepers, or maybe your favorite place to shop? On Friday mornings, we'll grab coffee and treats from the Red Barn Cafe and Catering and hand them out to the lucky winners of that week. It's the Red Barn Cafe and Catering Coffee Break, only on Moose FM.
Moose Country weather.
Cloudy sky today, turning to a mix of sun and cloud near noon. We'll see a high of -17, feeling like -28. Few clouds overnight, low to -24, wind chill -29. For tomorrow, clouds again in the morning with a 60% chance of light snow in the afternoon. High of -15, feels like -24, and sunny and -17 on Sunday.
You can watch this show live on Facebook, catch the replays at Energeticcity.ca, or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Steve. The Fort St. John Flyers were winless this season again before things started to turn around in December. They're heading to the playoffs next week against the top-ranked Dawson Creek Canucks. To talk about the season and the playoffs ahead, we're joined now by Flyers head coach Eric Nystrom. Eric, thank you so much for making some time today.
Hey, not a problem. Thank you.
I'm more than happy to have you on. So first, can we talk a little bit about your appointment as the head coach? Can you tell me a little bit about how that happened?
Yeah, well, becoming head coach wasn't definitely on my bingo card for this year. Mm-hmm. Craig, I have the utmost respect for Craig. He's been a guy that anybody can call on at any time. He's huge in the community with being a firefighter. And yeah, he just had some personal things come up, and then he had to step away from the team.
For sure, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about sort of the season that has happened thus far now that we're getting into the playoffs. On the season, you guys were winless until mid-December, but you were in a lot of games. It was very competitive. What was working better last year in general up to that point, in your opinion?
Up until then, we were getting all of our scoring from a couple of guys, like Nolan Legacy and Cole Caliu were our top scorers, and they still are. It's just we weren't really getting a lot of the bounces, and it was the leadership group and myself just preaching to the guys, like, trust the process, things will come. And that's kind of where we were at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The wins started coming first on, I believe it was December 14th. There was a close 8-7 win over High Prairie. What really started working that allowed your team to tip those closer games into wins instead of losses?
Well, having some bounces go our way. We got that win, and then the team just kind of enjoyed winning, so they got that winning feeling back, and it was definitely something that they needed, like, as a team. So that's kind of the biggest thing. Goaltending definitely keeps us in our games. Even some of the losses, like even if it was like 7-8-1 or whatever, like, it wasn't even goaltending that was really costing us those games. So
yeah, for sure. Who would you say on this team, obviously the whole year the guys have been playing their hearts out on the ice, who would you say seems to have really found another gear now that you guys have started to collect some wins?
I'd probably say Cale Bell. He's been our captain and leader on and off the ice. He finally got that monkey off his back, so to say, with a 4-goal game against Dawson. And he's really found the extra gear that we've needed.
Yeah, for sure. How satisfying would you say was that 7-4 win over the Canucks a couple of weeks back?
Oh, it's very satisfying. It was, I think we had lost like 10 in a row against them. It was like, and that's just in the regular season, not including exhibition or playoffs. Like, it was just, it was very satisfying. The guys all came together really well. Landon Hatton was our goalie that game, made some timely saves, had some bounces go our way. It was very satisfying, though.
Awesome. Now, you guys are going to be playing against the Canucks again starting on Monday for the playoff series. For people who maybe just aren't super familiar with this league, can you give me a quick rundown of how the playoff structure works? People who maybe haven't kept up with this before?
So this year it's we're the lower seed. So Dawson Creek gets 4 games, we get 3, but it's away home that way. And then after this series, if we win, we play the highest seed from the east side, which is new this year.
Okay.
So
awesome. So what would you say the Flyers really need to do to have a chance against the powerhouse from Dawson Creek? What do you guys think really you need to focus on?
We need to have the bounces, and like I said, goaltending. Goaltending is going to be huge for us. No matter who's in net, all 3 of our goalies are good goalies, and that's going to be the biggest thing we need is goaltending.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
For any fans who maybe have not had a chance to come out yet this season, what would you say to try and convince them to come out to these playoffs?
We're a young team, and they don't really give up. They work hard. It's a lot different than going to a Huskies game. There's a lot more hitting in our league. It's men against men.
Okay.
So
awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned again this playoff structure. This first game on Monday, that's going to be an away game, right?
Yep.
Okay. When's the first home game?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. Okay.
We play Monday, Tuesday, and then our game 4 is Saturday here.
Okay, and there's an absolute minimum. There's going to be 4 games, right?
Absolute minimum 4 games.
Okay, perfect, awesome. So, and the start times for those 2 games here at home?
8:30 start time is what time the puck drops. Warm up start at 8. So, come on out.
Awesome. I think we've covered everything that we've got on our list here. Is there anything else you want to go over while we still have you here, man?
No, I think I'm pretty much good. So
okay, for sure. Yeah. That first Fort St. John Flyers game of the playoff series is going to be on Monday. That's at the Dawson Creek Arena.
Yep.
And then the first home game is Tuesday. Starts at 8:30. Warm up start at 8. You said?
Yep.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Eric. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No worries. That was Eric Nystrom. Thanks again to Reid Graham for joining us today on This Week in the Piece, and thank you for tuning in.
And you can listen to this show again by checking out the podcast at Energeticcity.ca/podcast. We'll store this and future episodes of the show there as we make them. Also, check out our other locally produced podcasts while you're there, Before the Piece being exceptional and award-winning podcast, I should say, as well. That's our show. I'm Dub Craig.
And I'm Steve Berard. Be well.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Piece, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace Region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at Energeticcity.ca. Do you have something positive you'd like to share with the